We find ourselves in the southernmost part of the Iberian Peninsula, where only a strait separates Europe from Africa. A team of athletes will leave from here, on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, to the Cantabrian Sea, in northern Spain.
Look for a place to park the caravan near to Jerez de la Frontera. Maybe over there. If you see a better place when you are arriving here, maybe you can change your position.
But if we are in front, you don't know which place we have chosen. So it's better if you also know.
Okay. We had a main idea.
The journey is close to 1,000 kilometers. They will depart from Tarifa, in Cádiz, heading towards Sevilla, and from there, they will follow the ancestral path known as La Ruta de la Plata, or the Silver Route, up to Suances. To give you an idea, the distance is about the same as 5 stages of the Tour de France. If a vehicle did the trip non-stop, it would take 10 hours, but the team intends to complete it in less than 48, stopping only to receive assistance about every 100 kilometers. The group, made of Spaniards and Germans, is led by 3 athletes: Alberto, Jochen, and Fran. They are taking on this challenge with a clear goal in mind.
Por una parte, vendemos kilómetros de manera virtual. Ese dinero lo vamos a donar a varias asociaciones que ayudan a los animales y a las personas. Y luego, por otra parte, pues concienciar de que puedes llevar una vida normal, incluso en deporte de alto rendimiento o haciendo gestas duras físicamente, con una alimentación totalmente vegetariana, vegana.
Dieses zu beweisen, dass wir als Veganer mit pflanzlicher Ernährung keine Defizite haben.
Para mí lo más importante es que llegue al máximo de personas posible y que vean por qué lo hacemos.
The Vegan Warriors were founded in Spain as a group of sportsmen and vegan activists. Now, together with the German team Roots of Compassion, they are attempting to complete this new challenge, which they have named the Trans-Iberian for the animals. Good. So what does it mean to be vegan?
Yo soy vegano pues por estos seres vivos que están ahí, que no tienen voz y están sufriendo día a día bajo nuestro desconocimiento.
Ich lebe vegan, weil ich möchte, dass das Tierleid auf der Welt aufhört und dass die Welt einfach besser wird.
Yo soy vegano porque no necesito que ningún corazón muera para que el mío siga latiendo.
Many times, the term vegan is reduced to the dietary field. Unlike the vegetarian diet, where milk and eggs are consumed, the vegan one is a strict vegetarian diet. That is, it is plant-based and there is no consumption of animal-based food. But
Al contrario que muchos piensan que esto es una dieta, una moda.
Es un posicionamiento ético en contra de la explotación animal.
Für mich persönlich gesund, mich zu ernähren, das ist sehr wichtig für meinen Sport auch, um eben auch diese Höchstleistung zu bringen.
what do you see? Differences? Similarities? Historically, each culture has given animals a different value and a different place depending on their species. That's why, from different trenches around the world, people fight for the planet and the animals.
For me, being a vegan means an aspiration to live as kindly as possible, which means to not cause unnecessary harm to other animals, to other people, to the earth, and also to ourselves.
Casi todos respetamos y amamos a los perros, a los gatos, a los delfines, a los leones, pero no hemos hecho la conexión con otros animales que tienen la misma capacidad de sufrir y las mismas ganas de vivir.
They have memories, they develop relationships, and they want to enjoy positive, mutually beneficial relationships where they're not being hurt by people.
Cuando decidí ya romper el todo fue con la muerte de mi perra y ahí ya hice ahí como una conexión que digo, jo, es que es lo mismo mi perro que una vaca, que un cerdo, que cualquier otro animal sienten.
You know, I always wanted to do something positive in the world. I didn't want to be a cog in a wheel of a system that was causing so much harm. Most people don't want to support unnecessary cruelty, but most people are unwittingly supporting an abusive system through their food choices.
Whenever I think about maybe eating cheese, like, man, that pizza looks really good, I think, what did the cow go through? What did the cow go through for me to be able to eat that?
Empecé a ver vídeos que no quieres ver, vídeos de cámara oculta de mataderos, de granjas, y es un mundo tan horrible que en cuanto abres los ojos dices, no sé cómo no lo he hecho antes.
Research has shown that when human beings interact with other animals in a positive way, it actually helps to reduce our blood pressure, helps to reduce our stress, helps to improve our lives. And the same is true for animals. When they interact with people in a positive way, they also enjoy better lives. So this is a win-win.
From the medical standpoint of view, eating a plant-based diet is possibly one of the healthiest steps you can take towards a better health. Definitely, hands down. However, it's fantastic that by choosing to eat this type of diet, you're also impacting in the environment, in a more justice world.
Then, being vegan means to stop and think about what is the origin of the products we consume, how we have fun, and how directly or indirectly we have an impact on the world, many times with activities that we do on a daily basis.
Cuando abres tu mente, pues empiezas a encontrar cosas que nunca te hubiese dado por buscar.
Das war nicht jetzt von heute auf morgen, sondern eine lange Zeit. Auch über die Medien, die Information über das Fleisch, über die Milch, was es eigentlich heißt, Fleisch zu essen, was das für Konsequenzen hat für die Umwelt, für uns.
For me, to have a plant-based diet is to eat foods that really fuel my body as being the healthiest, where I feel really great eating them, and I know that they love me back. So you are what you eat.
Mi padre murió de cáncer. Empecé a investigar un poco, a leer, y vi que la alimentación era un punto muy importante en el tema del cáncer. Me acuerdo que mi expareja se hizo vegana. Me acuerdo por las noches me ponía, mira el vídeo de animales torturados. Y no, yo no quiero ver eso, yo no voy a hacer el cambio, yo voy a seguir comiendo mi jamón serrano. Y me acuerdo que un día, pues, solo en casa, me dio por ver vídeo de Erling y hasta la fecha.
The term vegan was coined by the English Donald Watson in the 1940s, but many people throughout history have opted for a plant-based diet. From scientists, to spiritual leaders, to activists, to artists, even to athletes. But it is the latter that generates more doubts. Is it possible to have a plant-based diet and be able to perform at the highest level? It is a warm day in Tarifa. The members of the team feel a tense calm.
Me parece un poco locura, pero como lo hacemos por lo que lo hacemos, que todos estamos en la misma causa, pues encantada de la vida. Jochen y Fran comen bastante. Alberto es un poquito más moderado, por temor a que coma mucho y le siente mal, pero vamos, también sabe comer bien, ¿eh?
Tú no puedes improvisar ahora en el reto comidas diferentes porque no. Entonces la comida va a ser lo que vemos siempre, que quinoa con verdura, mucha fruta, tofu, seitán. O sea que esa va a ser batidos verdes.
Para hidratación, agua y no sé si beberán algún refresco.
Alguna bebida isotónica,
sí.
Mi más preocupación es mi falta de experiencia. No sé dónde está mi barrera.
2 Nächte ohne Schlaf.
Aquí lo que interesa más que nada es acostumbrar al cuerpo a pasar muchas horas en la misma posición.
Ich habe die Trainingsintervalle halt erhöht. Früher bin ich die Woche, nur mal so zum Vergleich, ungefähr 150 Kilometer gefahren, maximal. Jetzt in der Vorbereitung 500 Kilometer die Woche.
Creo que voy justo de kilómetros, pero bueno, confío en mi cabeza.
Más que nada el sueño y el cansancio. Sé que fuerzas no les va a faltar a ninguno de los tres. Y a Jochen, por ejemplo, a Jochen seguro que no le va a faltar de nada, porque ese es muy muy salvaje.
Es ist eine Lebenserfahrung.
The group takes full advantage of the hours leading up to the outing to fine-tune the last details.
Certidumbre de ver cómo lo vamos a encontrar, porque ha sido unas semanas de mucha preparación, sobre todo a nivel mental, y ganas de que salga todo ya.
Surrounded by the sea, where the waters of the Mediterranean and the Atlantic mix, Alberto, Jochen, Fran, and Axel, who will accompany them in the first 100 kilometers, are at the point of departure. Strong winds characterize the zone, but once the trip has started, the enthusiasm is at its highest level. This first section does not have a lot of swings, so they can maintain the pace. As part of the initiative, an open invitation was made for different cyclists to join and start pedaling at every stage of the trip.
niña? Ya muerto. Llega a Sevilla, ¿sí?
Die Euphorie war zu groß am Anfang. Mit Rückenwind und...
Jetzt haben wir irgendwie einen 34er Schnitt oder 33 oder sowas, ne? War das.
30er Schnitt, ja.
Nachdem wir was anderes gesprochen haben. Gemütliche Ausfahrt. 25er Schnitt.
Vamos comiendo muy rápido. Entonces le estoy diciendo al chico que hay que aflojar un robo, que nos colamos mañana. Ahí te rimo.
The support staff is careful with the details of the equipment and food.
Hemos comido bastante fruta, un par de sándwiches de crema de cacahuete con mermelada y gazpacho. Y ahora ya a correr, que me están metiendo prisa.
¡Otro! Vamos, que te llevo.
The engine for my legs. Venga, venga. So vegan.
With all their batteries recharged, now accompanied by Kai, they prepare to take on the start of their first night on the road. Although tradition and culture establish different dynamics in every society, these are also supported by education, the media agenda, and political actions. However, on many occasions, these institutions see their positions compromised by the interests of large industries. For example, it is estimated that the dairy industry made contributions of around $4 million in the last US electoral process.
The political process is very challenging. It tends to be conservative. It tends to support the status quo. Agribusiness and factory farms and the pharmaceutical industries invest heavily in our politicians, who then defend those industries.
Los medios viven porque les pagan los anuncios y los anuncios son las grandes empresas, entonces es difícil luchar contra eso.
The estimate of the dairy industry's advertising budget in the US for 2017 was more than $1.1 billion.
La industria no es tonta y lo esconde muy bien, y luego te ponen sus anuncios, la vaca que ríe, animales sonrientes, que solamente consumas sin preguntarte qué ha pasado para que ese trozo de carne llegue a tu plato.
The forests are being destroyed at a rate of 7.6 million hectares per year, which is equivalent to the surface area of Panama. Just the sowing of soy in Brazil destroys 2.6 million hectares per year, and close to 75% of this production is destined to feed animals. On average, 1,000 liters of water are used to produce a liter of milk, and close to 15,000 for 1 kilogram of meat.
Llegará un momento en que nos tendremos que plantear el veganismo ya solamente por la carga de contaminación y destrucción que estamos llevando al planeta.
The livestock industry releases to the atmosphere close to 6 billion tons of greenhouse gases each year. This represents up to 18% of global emissions. There is overexploitation in 90% of fishing zones in the oceans. This production increased to 93 million tons annually, which is equivalent to 255 times the weight of the Empire State. Wool, silk, fur, feathers. There are specialized breeders and hunting of wild animals to satisfy a business that generates $40 billion annually in exchange for more than 1 billion lives. It is estimated that more than 115 million animals are used for medical training, cosmetic and pharmaceutical experimentation and testing. The commercialization of animals is normalized. And what about the entertainment industry? For example, bullfighting generates around 1.6 billion euros per year in Spain, while killing an average of 28 bulls daily.
Ya poco a poco hay ciudades que van quitando esas tradiciones absurdas. Donde yo vivo, en Arrecife, pues se están tomando medidas de no a los circos con animales, no a las peleas de gallos.
Excesses and speed continue shaping modern life.
We are social animals. We influence and rub off on those around us. And so if everybody's eating meat, we tend to do it. I grew up eating meat because everybody around me was doing it. And so I just adopted that habit without thinking about it.
The average consumption of meat per person is 34 kilograms annually. But in countries like Australia and the US, it is more than double, which equates to eating 3 steaks per day. The consumption of dairy products by people in the European Union is almost 63 liters of milk, 18 kilograms of cheese, and around 4 kilograms of butter. More than 200 eggs per person are consumed in countries like Germany and the US. The consumption of fish per capita in the world is 20 kilograms. The World Health Organization established that the consumption of 50 grams of processed meat per day, like cold cuts, increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. The global intake of sugar is close to 172 million tons annually. Just in the US, a person consumes about 20 teaspoons per day, many of which are already included in processed products. One of the main causes of hypertension is the excess in sodium consumption through salt, seasoning, canned products, or those of animal origin. The rate of diabetes increased more than 100% every decade since 1980. It is estimated 422 million people are affected by it around the world, close to twice the population of Brazil. Cardiovascular diseases are the main cause of death on a global scale. Just in the US, 117 million adults suffer at least one chronic disease, and more than $70 billion are spent on their treatment. Close to 60% of the world population does not fulfill the amount of physical exercise they need. It is no wonder that 1.9 billion people are overweight, and 600 million of them are categorized as obese. The most alarming fact is that 41 million children under the age of 5 suffer from obesity too.
The difference between a plant-based diet and the standard American diet would be mainly the amount of saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium that we're going to be consuming. Also the amount of animal protein, which is harmful, especially for our kidneys.
things that we know for a fact, things that have been established through science, is that people who adopt this type of nutrition, they have less incidence of diabetes, less incidence of obesity, and definitely less incidence of cardiovascular disease, which is our number one killer. Not only that, there are many benefits that people do not talk about. Like, for instance, you have better digestion, so less incidence of constipation, which is actually a widespread malady in the modern world.
With a whole food plant-based diet, some people are even able to decrease the amount of medication that they need, and sometimes people don't even require them after a few months.
Daily consumption of fruits and vegetables, and including physical exercise into a daily routine, can help avoid the death of millions of people each year. Despite so much discouraging data, important efforts have been made to raise awareness among the population.
In the last 30 years, awareness about the benefits of being vegan has increased significantly.
Yo creo que todo lo que está pasando, global warming, climate change, gente está despertando y diciendo, esto no es el futuro que quiero para mis hijos y mi familia.
And I think most people also would rather support a food system that's not destroying the planet the way animal agriculture does. And that means eating plants instead of animals, which means we would need to use far less acreage. We could feed more people with less land, less water, less fossil fuels, less resources by growing plants instead of animals.
In the last 2 years, the UK has experienced a growth of 700% in citizens who follow a plant-based diet, a phenomenon that has been reproduced worldwide. There is also a decrease in the consumption of animal products. For example, in Germany, 44% of the population follow a diet with lower meat consumption. This trend expanded the supply of vegan products. This increase was of 92% in 2016 just in Australia. We just must take a look at Google Trends to see the growth of interest in topics related to the subject in the last 10 years. And all this has been reflected in concrete actions at the legal and social level. The most important thing is that your sole decision will reduce your diet's impact on the planet, and it will save over 500 lives of animals a year.
Velocidad media 31, 210 kilómetros, 211.
Es mejor no pensar en lo que te queda porque si lo piensas te pegas un... Duele todo, duele el cuello.
The cyclists reached the second checkpoint 1 hour early. However, the support staff has not arrived yet.
Si esperamos aquí nos va a comer la moral.
So they decide to continue on and stop to eat in a few kilometers. Luzando joins the pedaling while the RVs move forward and finish preparing the food.
Está fuera el Zulu.
Chico, que está más cerca,
The athletes need to look after their hydration and eat food that makes them feel good during the night.
¿Sopa?
No.
The momentum continues, and they exceed again the average speed of 25 kilometers per hour that had been established in the planning.
Íbamos rodando muy rápido, hasta el punto que a mí me pasó factura. Era de noche y me tamboleaba, necesitaba parar y recuperar.
The night hit the group hard, since they lost Fran from their ranks a little more than halfway through the journey.
Justo encima de un viento de frente muy fuerte, claro, empiezas a pensar, el viento viene en dirección norte, me quedan 500 kilómetros de dirección norte, voy a tenerme que hacer 500 kilómetros a 15 por hora. Te da una situación de que vas muy lento y es muy duro mentalmente. Te cuesta pensar que vas a llegar a Plasencia, que es el siguiente pueblo, pues como para pensar que luego te quedan otros 200 a Salamanca, otros 200 a Valladolid.
Although discouragement prevails, it is challenged by two brothers who reaffirm that language barriers are not an obstacle when there is a common cause.
Why do you not in our team?
¿Por qué? Pues explícaselo. ¿Pero por qué no he ido con ellos de Tarifa?
Explícaselo tú.
I don't speak in English.
Rafa te lo explica.
In Spain. Porque...
¿Cómo quieres decirle? ¿Por qué?
Me ha costado. Verá cuando llevo 200 kilómetros.
Bueno, él es vegetariano, yo soy vegana y nos parecía un reto precioso, nos parece que el mensaje es espectacular. Aparte, Alberto para mí es muy importante porque el día que yo decidí dejar de comer animales, pues él fue la persona que me orientó y que me ayudó.
Me conocí a Alberto hace 2 días, parece como si lo conociera toda la vida. Acabo de conocer a... ¿Cómo se llamaba?
Jochen,
a Jochen. A Jochen lo acabo de conocer y sinceramente ya te empatizas tanto con este tipo de gente y te sientes tan, no sé, tan como ellos, ¿no? Tan de la misma, porque que al final, bueno, voy a tirar con ellos hasta donde pueda y hasta donde nos permita el cuerpo.
If we want to switch to a plant-based diet, we must leave behind the automatic responses that we usually repeat as children. Where do we get calcium from? Where do we get protein from?
Que la gente no sabe que la dieta vegana es sana. Se creen que es una dieta que tienes que tomar muchos suplementos, muchas pastillas, porque no es sana. La gente no cree que es válida para un niño, para una madre que está dando el pecho, para un anciano, para un deportista, porque hay mucho desconocimiento y hay muchos profesionales de la materia que no se han reciclado y no se han puesto al día. Entonces siguen repitiendo mantras de hace 40 años.
We have to understand that the important thing isn't the food, it's their nutrients. That is, it is the nutrients that allow us to grow, to heal, and to generate our energy. Among them, we can find vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins.
A balanced diet means that you're getting enough of every type of nutrient that your body needs. So generally what that is going to look like in very practical terms is to eat fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes, and a variety of all of those foods specifically, because each of those food groups offers different nutrients that you need. When you're looking at foods, it's not just, oh, it tastes good, it looks good, but what nutrients does it have that are going to help my body function best? So really trying to prioritize those foods that have the most amount of nutrients per bite. That's what you would call a nutrient-dense food.
So it is important to differentiate the nutritional density and the energy density of foods.
It is not the same 100 calories from meat, from 100 calories from chickpeas. When you're eating whole plant foods, you're getting a lot more nutrients. And with, a cookie or a donut, you're not going to be getting nutrients. You're going to be getting just empty calories, refined flours, refined sugars, refined oils. And this is almost empty of nutrients completely. But you do have the calories.
For example, most leafy greens, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains are of higher nutritional density than foods of animal origin.
Greens like kale, spinach, collard greens, bok choy, these are all really nutrient dense. These are some of the best foods that you can eat.
So it is important to avoid filling yourself with empty calories.
It's important to look at the quality of the calorie that you're eating. For example, you could pick a bagel and a donut, and they're both pretty high in calories, but the calories that are in that donut are going to be very broken down and sweet and very different than what's going to happen in a whole grain bagel.
Now, can we find all the nutrients in this type of diet?
In Deutschland gibt es halt immer so dieses Gerücht, Wenn man sich pflanzlich ernährt, wird man nicht satt. Man hat ein Defizit.
A lot of people who turn vegetarian or vegan have a problem with this in the beginning because they remove the meat from their diet, but they don't replace it with anything else. So they're saying that they're hungry, but this means basically that they haven't done the diet correctly. They need to add, beans to their diet. They need to add more vegetables, more fruit. So they do need to have a higher volume of food, but the volume of food that they're eating is going to be more nutrient dense than the meat diet they were following before or the junk food diet that they were following before.
Me hice una analítica y al ver mi analítica comparada cuando comía carne, habían mejorado los valores. Estaban más sanos que cuando comía carne. Entonces ya fue cuando dije, mira, todo está en la cabeza.
Digo, voy a ser deportista, pero seguramente no podré rendir al mismo nivel. La sorpresa fue que no solamente seguí al mismo nivel, sino que incluso mi rendimiento dio un salto cualitativo.
It can be said that the three main worries are, where can I get calcium, iron, and of course, protein from?
Plant-based foods have enough calcium and iron and protein and all the different nutrients that your body needs. Specifically, your leafy greens and beans have a lot of calcium and iron that every single person needs in order to function well.
People think about calcium and immediately the food that comes to mind is dairy, right? This is product of decades of marketing. We know that. Now, interesting part is that tofu, for instance, the percentage of absorption of calcium is 30%, which is the same as cow's milk, right? It's actually the same. Now, the fraction of absorption of calcium in kale is actually 42%, which is even higher than cow's milk. So we're not talking about calcium content. We're talking about the amount of calcium that your body absorbs when you eat these foods.
We must also consider nutrient bioavailability, portion size for each food we should consume, and our particular characteristics as individuals. But where do we get these nutrients from? We can find calcium in kale, almonds, broccoli, and sesame seeds. Iron, beans, lentils, spinach, and peas are good sources of iron. And protein? In different quantities, it is present in quinoa, chickpeas, chia, and nuts.
When you're a vegan, one of the most common questions you're going to get asked is, what about protein? Protein is necessary for almost every metabolic function we have, any reaction that occurs in our body. So this is the reason that bodybuilders are very, should we say, obsessed with protein, because they think that if they eat more and more protein, they're going to be able to build more and more muscle. But muscle is made by working out. When you do exercise, you're slightly damaging your muscle cells. And when those cells go into the phase of recuperation, that's when you need protein.
Muchos piensan que en los vegetales no hay ese tipo de proteína, que en los vegetales no encontramos proteína de alto valor biológico, y eso no es real.
We know that beans, nuts, seeds, even vegetables and whole grains can interact between each other to create a good quality protein.
Protein is actually found in every single plant-based food, just in varying quantities. Grains and legumes tend to be the higher protein sources in the plant kingdom. If you're getting enough calories, you are getting enough protein.
Now we know that vegetable proteins are enough and are sufficient and are adequate to grow a healthy human being. We know that vegetable proteins can sustain the human growth in all stages. Not only that, if you eat enough calories, it can promote muscle growth.
So the average person needs 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That is about 40 to 60 grams of protein per day. Another way for athletes, though, is oftentimes they may need a little bit more, especially if they're professional athletes or endurance athletes. They may need more, like 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight.
La proteína nunca viene sola, siempre viene acompañada con algo. Y en el caso de los animales, viene acompañado con grasa no saludable, con colesterol. Además, la proteína vegetal va a producir menos residuos en el cuerpo, entonces va a generar menos toxina, es una proteína más limpia.
Is that it's actually a tool to prevent diseases. We know that vegetable protein is associated with less kidney disease, with less digestive problems. So not only has the benefits of a good protein, but it also helps towards prevention in many diseases.
And what other nutrients should we pay attention to?
Los dos nutrientes que yo creo más delicados en cualquier vegetariano y más si hace deporte sería el hierro y la vitamina B12.
This vitamin has functions related to the creation of red blood cells, regenerating tissues and maintaining the central nervous system.
I've had a lot of problems with vegans who tell me that they don't want to supplement their diet with B12, and B12 deficiency is a serious problem and can cause serious neurological deficits. But taking B12 is vegan. B12 is not produced by animals, it's only produced by bacteria. So there's nothing unethical about taking B12 supplements.
That is something that you cannot consume through food. Some foods are fortified with that, but it's just better to make sure that you can get it through a multivitamin or an exclusive supplement.
A lot of omnivores, a lot of non-vegans actually also get B12 deficiency.
The supplement that you need to take is at least 250 micrograms per day or 2,500 per week.
It's really good to also to look at vitamin D, especially if you live somewhere where there's not a lot of sunlight exposure.
Our body synthesizes this vitamin through sunlight, which is basic for the absorption of calcium. We shouldn't forget the omega-3 fatty acids either.
I recommend a diet that's high in omega-3 fatty acids, like eating flax seeds, eating chia seeds, eating walnuts, and low in omega-6 fatty acids. So taking out the refined oils from your diet, that's going to be the biggest source of omega-6 fatty acids.
And what about hydration? We need at least 64 ounces of water per day on average.
A lot of times we think, okay, I'm just going to drink water in the morning when I wake up or with my meals, but it's a good thing to have those throughout your entire day.
What other recommendations should we follow if we're athletes?
Hay que ver qué tipo de entrenamiento tiene. Si es un entrenamiento muy intenso, muy aeróbico, o es intenso pero es anaeróbico.
In general, they're looking at adequate calorie intake and plenty of fluid replacement, electrolyte replacement beverages.
When I'm training for a marathon or a triathlon and I'm burning a lot of calories, I'm more mindful of what I'm eating. And I pay more attention to getting a lot of calories and nutrient-dense calories. So I eat more greens. I oftentimes eat green smoothies with kale and fruit and leafy green vegetables.
Mucha gente me pregunta, pero tú varías la alimentación. La verdad que no, yo como todo el año exactamente, prácticamente igual. Evidentemente aumento las cargas a nivel de, si aumento los volúmenes de entrenamiento, pues aumento las cargas de carbohidratos, pero prácticamente como todo el año mi comida es la misma.
By being an athlete, you're putting a lot of stress on your body, like physical stress. And you're going to have to repair those tissues and muscles quicker in order to be able to continue to perform at such a high level. By eating plenty of plants, which contain lots of antioxidants and phytochemicals, those are the things that are going to reduce the inflammation in your body and keep them at healthy levels so that you can then continue to perform really well.
Früher habe ich trainiert, einen Tag, und brauchte 2 Tage Regeneration. Heute fahre ich auch mehr und kann nächsten Tag wieder fahren. Also die Regeneration ist ganz extrem kleiner geworden, die Zeit kürzer. Und vor 6 Jahren, also als ich noch nicht vegan gelebt habe, hätte ich mir nie vorstellen können, so eine Höchstleistung annehmen zu können oder auch zu erbringen.
I've run 6 marathons and an ultramarathon. I've done about a dozen triathlons, including an Ironman triathlon, all of this on a plant-based diet, and I've done it all in the last 5 or 7 years.
The more variety and color you have in your diet, probably the better. So don't just eat beans, or don't just eat salad. You want to eat a variety of food.
Halfway through the journey, the cost of an increased pace is high for everyone.
Ein bisschen angeschlagen, weil wir so harte Bedingungen haben. Aber die Gedanken gehen immer wieder zu dem, weswegen wir hier fahren. Und das macht uns stark und motiviert uns ungemein.
The accumulated delay at this point is already over 3 hours. The sunlight would be barely enough to complete the next stage. Another 100 kilometers, but this time uphill to reach Puerto de Béjar.
It's my energy. Also Quinoa mit Gemüse, Paprika, Zucchini, Nüsse, Gemüsebrühe für Salz, weil wir ganz viel Salz verlieren. Man sieht es hier, überall. Hier ist Salz. Und hier ist genug drin, um das wieder aufzunehmen.
Not 100% sure how he feels. I think he's full of energy now because of the people who are supporting and all that. But I'm sure that he can make it, that he will make it in the end.
Como madre, pues no quiero que sufra. y como sé que le va a hacer mucha ilusión, quiero que lo haga.
Yo confío en Alberto, ya lo conozco bien y creo que puede remontar. Se va a tener que tomar su tiempo, de no agobiarse.
Y a mí lo que me da miedo es la noche, que llegue la noche y que se maree y pase cualquier cosa. Tanto Fran como Jochen como Alberto son como una persona, entonces da igual quién llegue, la cosa es que lo termine alguno, ¿no?
Él lo lleva siempre. Se lo regaló a un amigo de toda la vida y dice, cuando vayas sufriendo piensa en que él siempre sufre más que tú, que tu sufrimiento es pasajero y el de él es desde que nace hasta su corta vida que muere.
More doubts are raised during the wait, and the team evaluates their possibilities.
Le da igual dormir 4 horas que 12 horas.
Sí, también necesita descansar, que también está mal.
Yo se lo estaba diciendo, dice, no, yo quiero llegar con Alberto y quiero hacer todo el reto con Alberto. O sea, no hay más.
También confío en que muchas veces le he visto en carreras muerto, pero muerto totalmente.
Confiáis todos mucho, me cago en la puta.
Claro.
Yo no doy un duro pero ninguno está dentro de mí.
Yo tengo 1000 euros. Claro,
déjame
claro.
dejar un poco.
Que no, yo sí le entiendo,
Hombre, a mí me encantaría estar tan fina como tú.
Eso te lo digo. Es verdad.
Esto es una locura.
Despite the bad feelings, they will try to complete the next segment.
Él los va a acompañar luego en un ratín.
After finish the climb.
Sí, después de
Give me five. Este no habla despacio como Jorge. A ver cómo lo entiendo yo.
El equipo humano es imprescindible. Consiguen poco a poco que no tires la toalla y la corporación de Alicia y Alberto, que bueno, pues fue crucial porque nos dieron mucha vidilla, nos dieron conversación, nos animaron mucho.
Little by little, the night comes and it turns a bit cold. The caloric expenditure after 600 kilometers exceeds 19,000 calories on average, which adds to over 27 hours without sleep.
Pillamos un albergue de mierda que nos ha costado duro y te das una ducha en condiciones. Más tranquilo y vas a estar más tranquilo que ahí, tío.
The group will continue to Salamanca, where they will sleep a few hours until the next day.
Yes, it's better for my brain when I bike to Salamanca, and in the morning I have nur 300 Kilometer zu Antes.
Okay. Thank you.
What does a vegan eat? Surely, this is the image that comes to mind, but we have already seen that the food based on plants is colorful, full of textures and flavors.
The greatest myth I think that people have about this diet would be that they can't do it. Like, oh, I could never do that. I can't go without chicken. I eat that every day. I can't go without cheese. I'm addicted to it. I love it. And they think that maybe there's nothing else left to eat. The interesting part of it is that the plant kingdom is so big and so expansive.
No estuviera yo en este negocio por 4 años si mi comida fuera aburrida.
When I went vegan back in 1985, they thought you were really crazy. Today, they think you're a little bit crazy. And so we're going in the right direction. And vegan food is becoming much more widely available. You have businesses, including large agribusinesses, that are now investing in plant-based foods, creating veggie burgers or veggie hot dogs or plant-based milks.
Lo que más me ha sorprendido es la gente que no es vegana, que muchos venían por curiosidad y salen súper contentos porque no sé, se imaginan que vamos a comer lechuga, que vamos a comer verduras al vapor y claro, se quedan súper sorprendidos porque no se esperan lo que van a comer aquí. Y eso es lo que más me gusta de esto, ¿sabes? Que puedes cambiar la mentalidad un poco de la gente sin ser agresivo.
Yo pasé una primera semana pensando que iba a pasar una vida de necesidades, voy a estar todo el día con ganas de comer un helado, con ganas de comer... Y luego te das cuenta que en la cocina vegana es muy amplia, es muy variada, es muy rica.
And what about the cost?
Caro, ¿qué va? Para nada. Creo que es más caro el consumir carne, pescado, es mucho más caro. Yo abro la despensa, miro a ver qué tengo hoy, tengo lentejas, tengo puerro, pues venga.
Si nos ponemos a pensar, fruta de temporada, verdura de temporada, entonces teniendo trucos, técnicas culinarias sencillas, prácticas fáciles, puede ser hasta más rápido de preparar.
Nuestro restaurante es orgánico. Soy gluten free, pues no tiene trigo, es non-GMO. Pues mi comida es un poquito más cara. Yo hago comida como mi mamá la hacía. Yo hago mi sofrito, mi orgánico cilantro, ajo, cebolla, chile verde. Eso es algo que yo hago para que mi comida tenga un sabor fresco, tenga un sabor auténtico. Nada sale de una lata, nada.
La gente tiene un concepto mal de que alimentarse es caro. Entonces, entrar en estos sitios es súper caro. Y empezamos con la idea de intentar poner unos precios lo más asequible posible, de dar a entender a la gente que, vale, yo tengo embutidos, tengo quesos de muchos tipos, tengo comida precocinada, pero realmente tú no necesitas esto para alimentarte como vegano. Eso es como un lujo, como el que se compra un lomo, un ibérico. Entonces, cuando la gente viene aquí y me pregunta, yo le digo, oye, te tienes que alimentar verdura, legumbre, semilla, fruto seco, fruta, y esa es la alimentación del vegano.
Like in any diet, we have to be responsible for which foods we eliminate and which we introduce. That's why not all strict vegetarian diets are healthy. Both the deficiencies and the excesses in food can affect your health.
Puedes ser vegetariano y llevar una mala alimentación con carencias nutricionales. Por ejemplo, comer frituras, mucha bollería, azúcar refinado, harinas refinadas.
The bigger health risks come from eating a diet high in fat, especially saturated fat and trans fats. If you think about any processed food, they want it to have a long shelf life. So instead of using water, they use oil. These are foods that are going to taste good and be very convenient, yes, but they're not nutrient dense. They're calorie dense, and I would recommend staying away from them whenever possible.
It's pretty much the same eating, fried chicken and fried potato. To make things simple, I think that the same nutrition wisdom that we have today applies for all types of diet, right? Like avoid too much salt, fat, sugar, that we know. Try to eat as healthy as possible, try to exercise, sleep well.
Hay una persona que me dijo, me siento no solo más sana, sino que estoy de mejor humor. Entonces digo, bueno, yo creo que todos queremos estar no solo más sanos, sino más alegres, ¿no? Más felices, con más bienestar.
If we know how to combine ingredients, we will always have exciting options. They will be full of nutrients and have a positive effect on our energy. Dawn. A fresh breeze blows through the fields. The sound of bicycles on asphalt breaks the silence.
No todo sale como te lo esperas siempre, rodado y fácil y bonito. Hay crisis, hay que estar dentro, hay que tomar las decisiones.
But will a little more than 4 hours of rest be enough?
Coffee?
It's a little bit freezy.
Ganas de volver a la cama, pero bueno, yo creo que ahora queda falta de comida, creo.
Me uní de nuevo, ya que me encuentro mejor y ya por lo menos ayudarle a que vaya lo mejor posible. A ver si aguanto hasta el final con ello.
Ein bisschen heißen Kaffee, damit uns jetzt warm wird und Koffein, damit wir wach werden. Damit wir jetzt die letzte Etappe noch schön durchfahren können.
Approximately a third of the course is what separates them from the finish line. It might seem like little, but it will take them all day and part of the night on the road.
¿A las 9?
Que no, Fran, que son 360 kilómetros. Serían 9 en la media 25, en la media 25, tanto como estamos, no vamos a hacer.
Recuerda que los últimos 70 son cuesta abajo. A las 10, buena hora, para echarnos allí el bailoteo, la paellita vegana.
Once they're ready, they get on their bicycles again and continue the journey north.
El cuerpo, la verdad que muchas veces te sorprende y cuando crees que no hay nada de dónde sacar, vuelve a renacer y ahora estamos bastante bien para lo que hemos sufrido.
The next kilometers will help them recover due to the slight downward slope. There is a new cyclist waiting for them on the road, who will join them on this section.
Vegano para mí significa formar parte de la naturaleza de una forma consciente. La gente me pregunta si es por dieta, la gente me pregunta si es por salud. No, la gente no se imagina que yo lo hago simplemente por respeto a los animales, por respeto a la vida y por respeto a la naturaleza. No es por salud, no es por no engordar ni por hacer deporte. Hay un dicho que utilizamos mucho aquí en España, que es el papel lo aguanta todo. Pues 1000 kilómetros casi no lo aguanta ni el papel. Para algunas personas se le puede atragantar prácticamente hasta hacerlo en un vehículo a motor, pues hacerlo con el motor de nuestro corazón y de las piernas, pues todavía las dimensiones son mucho más titánicas.
Hydration, fresh fruit, smoothies, and sharing with friends are parts of the menu in order to continue. Long and straight road. The pavement reflects the heavy sunlight. A lot of mental work is what's needed when the body is being taken to its limit. In addition, positive team energy is vital for alleviating the passing of the hours.
Obwohl wir ganz heiße Temperaturen haben, wir haben hier 35 Grad. Das Profil ist sehr wellig und sehr eintönig. Also wenig Häuser, keine Bäume. Das ist ein bisschen große mentale Herausforderung, aber im Moment sind wir eine tolle Truppe und ein gutes Team. Weil wir jetzt merken, wir sind kurz vorm Ziel und fühlen uns alle noch sehr gut, sehr stark und macht Spaß.
After the last break, their goal awaits in Suances, right in Playa de los Locos, or Beach of the Crazy People, a name that seems appropriate for welcoming the team that took on this extreme challenge. As they move forward, devouring the last 100 kilometers, more cyclists join their cause. Night falls in Suances, where family and friends anxiously wait for them.
Fue muy sorprendente ver cómo uno a uno nos empezamos a encontrar ciclistas y sobre todo grandes amigos.
Te van animando, entonces ya te olvidas de todo. Ni dolor de pierna, ni frío, ni cansancio, nada, te olvidas de todo y eres capaz de hacer otros 500 más en la bici.
Ya estamos en Torre la Vega. Pueblo de Alberto. Jochen quiere paella. Jochen, paella.
Hemos llegado muy enteros, la verdad que muy sorprendido. Mira los chicos como están, tanto Jochen como Alberto, después del palizón están como si nada. Yo creo que hay que agradecer también a toda la gente que nos ha esperado, que ha venido con nosotros. Eso ha sido un subidón tremendo.
Hace 2 días en Tarifa y ahora aquí estamos enfrente del Mar Cantábrico.
Wir sind so happy, aber auch komplett leer, komplett finish. Aber ganz stolz und ganz groß. Ja, ein tolles Team zusammen. España y Germany.
Jochen y Fran, pues lo primero son 2 grandes amigos y luego son 2 grandes deportistas y tienen un coraje y un corazón que no les cabe en el pecho. El cariño del equipo de apoyo, que es algo indispensable. Y luego encima, el llegar aquí, que te vengan a recibir tantos amigos, todo este recibimiento, pues es algo, vamos, que todavía no soy capaz de asimilarlo.
Es ist so schön hier mit den Menschen zusammen zu sein jetzt, die das Gleiche fühlen wie wir, dass wir wollen, dass das Tierleid auf der Welt aufhört. Und das ist einfach so toll.
The team has been able to complete the challenge. The total course was 1,060 kilometers, the time 55 hours. Their average speed in movement was 26 kilometers per hour, and they burned approximately 35,000 calories. But the most important thing is that they have shared their message, and they have distributed the 7,131 euros they raised among the 5 selected organizations. What do you think now?
Prueba, entra en este mundo, lee un poquito, mira los vídeos de cómo se tratan a los animales sin que te sientas agredido ni culpable, solamente míralo y desde ahí intenta razonarlo.
Experience what's out there. It's out there. It's no longer just small and hidden.
For people who are interested in adopting a vegan lifestyle but who are afraid, I would say just start taking small steps. Start substituting plant foods for animal foods, 1 meal at a time.
It can be really fun and something exciting to try. Even if it's just for 3 weeks, you want to give it a trial, go for it. You never know what you can learn just in 3 weeks from changing your diet.
Have a better conscience. Know that you're doing what's right, not only for your body, but what's right for the animals and what's right for the environment as well.
Yo creo que la educación es la solución, es la clave, es la arma más poderosa, educar a las nuevas generaciones en el respeto hacia los demás.
More and more projects are emerging that utilize holistic education, the rescue of animals, the use of alternative materials, and the creation of new products. Whether small or large, new initiatives should look for more ways of spreading the message.
Yo creo que el papel de los medios es fundamental, ¿no? Para divulgar este estilo de vida, este movimiento que tenemos, ¿no? Sin ellos, pues, va a ser muy difícil.
Ich denke, das liegt daran, weil wir über das Internet immer mehr informiert werden. Die Leute können sich besser informieren und die Verbreitung ist einfach sehr viel schneller und besser.
This has made people to question, examine, and to organize themselves using their own methods.
I think where a lot of the change ultimately is going to happen is in the marketplace as people vote with their dollars and start supporting plant-based companies and stop supporting animal abusing businesses.
We can make a change. We can definitely make a change. Young people can adopt healthier lifestyles and they can change pretty much everything. They can change the future. They can make our countries better. They can create a healthier workforce. And by doing that, also our goals change. When you experience health, you want to give that gift of health to everyone. And if we start doing this, we'll create a cascade of beautiful events that has the power to change the future of our nation forever.